Let's hide in the attic.
No, in the basement.
Why can't we just get in the running car?
Are you crazy? Let's hide behind the chainsaws.
If you're in a scary movie, you make dumb decisions. It's what you do. If you want to know why people make these dumb decisions, you watch Pop Psych. It's what you do. Greetings, fellow fans of pop culture and psychology, and welcome to this episode of Pop Psych, only on Mr. G's Pop Culture Academy. In this YouTube series, we will examine the scientific study of human behavior and mental processes through the unique fund of knowledge of pop culture. This video was suggested by YouTube user Sockbox Studios, who asks, why do people make dumb decisions in scary movies? That's a very good question. If you have a question you would like me to answer, please let me know in the comments below. I'm absolutely excited to answer your questions. It's one of the greatest tropes in the history of Hollywood. People doing dumb things in scary movies. Now, there are about two reasons as to why this happens. One reason has to do with the screenwriters themselves. In some cases, characters have to do dumb things in order for the scary story to unfold. But that has to do more with the cognitive behaviors of screenwriters and not the characters, so that's a movie for another time. The other reason has to do with the study and structure of the human brain and how it operates under the best and worst conditions. And for us to do that, it's story time. And now it's time for A Tale of Two Brains. So, the human brain is divided into two regions, each with their own control center. You have the cerebral cortex on the outermost layer, and underneath you have the primal brain. Now, let's start with the cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex is responsible for the most advanced and sophisticated thoughts and behaviors and functions you can do as a human being. Now, its control center is the prefrontal cortex. Now, we can have some fun in visualizing what the prefrontal cortex does. Let me take a shot at it. The prefrontal cortex is a neural net processor, a learning computer. It is responsible for making the most critical decisions you will ever make in your life, from complex variable equations to determining whether cereal is soup. And beneath the cerebral cortex lies the primal brain, and it's responsible for all the basic and necessary functions of daily life. And the best part is, they all operate automatically, because if some people had to deliberately tell their brain to operate, they'd be in deep trouble. Now, the hypothalamus is the primal brain's control center, and man, unlike that prefrontal cortex, I don't really like burdening myself with a lot of thought. I really don't. I'm really go with the flow, and I'm gonna do something with the least amount of thought possible. Now, with that said, if I had my way, I would only make 4 decisions in life. And psychologists call that the 4 F's. For starters, if somebody's coming over there or coming over to see me and they're killing my vibe with their heinous attitude, I'm gonna try to punch them out. But then I might realize that that person has a lot of backup, and that's gonna kill my vibe even more. So I'm gonna try to run away, man. And maybe I might even decide that it's not worth it either way, and then I'm gonna go across the street and get some mean grind somewhere. You know, I gotta eat, man. I always gotta eat and drink, so, you know, I might end up doing that. And then on my way there, I might even realize I don't have anybody for Friday or Saturday night, and I gotta get a date, so I might end up doing that. If I had my way, I'd only make those 4 decisions. But life is a lot more complicated than that, so whatever happens, I'm gonna make the least amount of effort possible to solving the problem. That's my life. Now, whether we are in a scary movie or not, our prefrontal cortexes and our hypothalamuses are both in constant battle with each other to try to gain control over your behavior. In some cases, the prefrontal cortex wins out. However, in other times, the hypothalamus wins out, allowing for nonsensical decisions to be made. In the case of scary movies, however, the hypothalamus wins out because electricity is actually diverted from the prefrontal cortex thanks to a little part of your brain called the amygdala. Known for basic emotional processing, including the fear response, the amygdala can redirect electrical impulses away from the cerebral cortex towards the hypothalamus and even further downward towards the subject's muscle so that that individual can have the best possible chance at surviving the threat. When this happens, the 4 F's that the hypothalamus usually thinks about are adjusted for this new threat. Most commonly, the 3rd and 4th F's are canceled, resulting in a reaction that psychologists and people tend to refer to as fight or flight. Because muscles are receiving the electrical impulses that should have gone to the prefrontal cortex, fighting is one of the 2 main options that a subject may resort to when confronting a threat. However, depending on what the hypothalamus decides to do, the subject may also want to flee. In both cases, the electrical impulses that were taken from the prefrontal cortex help a subject confront the threat at the expense of logical thought. In both cases, the extra electrical impulses that the muscles receive, courtesy of where it should have gone in the prefrontal cortex, help a subject best confront the threat. Are they going to physically confront it or try to run away? Each way works. However, as our understanding of fear responses has evolved, scientists and neuroscientists and psychologists have discovered 2 alternatives to the former binary of fight or flight. Some subjects may be completely overwhelmed by the situation and decide to freeze instead of either fighting the threat or running away from it. This reaction is based on the logic that with certain predators, the absence of movement may make you harder to find, causing the predator to go elsewhere for its prey. Finally, depending on the situation, a frightened subject may try to reason with the threat to either avoid or lessen the potential harm that that threat can issue it. This is called the fawn response, doing whatever you can to try to get out of the situation. So you see, ladies and gentlemen and fellow psychologists, there are actually 4 reactions to threatening stimuli: fighting, fleeing, freezing, or fawning. But no matter what characters may do in a scary movie, please know that in the heat of the moment, their ability to make rational decisions have been intentionally underpowered, both by the situation they find themselves in and the power of the screenwriters. But no matter what characters may do in a scary situation, please always remember that they are doing it because the part of their brain responsible for logical decision-making is significantly underpowered. So what do you think? Is there a famous case of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn from a scary movie that is your favorite? Please let me know in the comments below. And as always, if there is a video you'd like me to talk about, a topic in psychology you'd like me to address in a future video, please let me know in the comments below. Also, if you are simply auditing this course, which is to say you're watching the video and just passing through, feel free to register and become an official member of Mr. G's Pop Culture Academy by clicking the subscribe button. And with that said, until next time. Hello again. Thanks for watching that video. With that said, feel free to tune in every Movie Monday for new materials, and let me know what you think. I'm absolutely excited to hear your thoughts. Live long and prosper. May the force be with you, and there is no fate but what we make for ourselves.